All right, so this is the final product. Now, this is a lot to uncover, but let's take a look at what I did here. So as you can see, I gutted some of what came with Woodmart, some of the Woodmart pre-configurations with the theme and the template that I actually used. So let's start from the top to the bottom. So as you can see here, I edited the logo and I used this pre-configured header in this header area for this particular header. And to do that, I simply just went into Woodmart Header Builder, edit the current header. And this is the header. So I just named this header base. And as you can see, we have a divider, menu, divider, some HTML, and then the social buttons. Well, how does that correspond? It all corresponds right here. Okay. So Woodmart has a pretty good, robust header builder. So the logo is here, the search is here. There is a space widget to create some space, account, wish list, compare, and cart. And you see all of that displayed here. Now let's move on to the main area. So the main area is just simply a image. I got rid of the slider that came pre-configured with the theme. So if we go to the actual backend editor of this theme, the main area is simply a single image. So when we click on this little pencil, this is a section, a row, and I just added a simple image with a full presentation with the full image size. And as you can see, I have a on-click action to take this image when users click on this to a specific product. Now, as far as this image, I created this image in Photoshop. I have some Photoshop experience. If you do not have Photoshop experience or you cannot create a banner like this, because this is a pretty elaborate banner, you can hire somebody on one of the digital marketplaces for labor like Upwork or Fiverr and pay a pretty decent, affordable price for it. Okay, so I did create this banner on my own using a photo editing software, in this case Photoshop. You can also use things like Canva to design graphical banners for websites. So the main area here is simply a simple image. The theme actually came with a slider to add more than one image in a turnstile type format. So I opted just to go for simplicity and a single image here for the banner. So beneath this banner, there are 3 sub banners, what we call in web design sub banners. So this takes us to a new feature point of the website to introduce products. So in this case, tennis ball machines, this particular product here, and this particular product here. So you want to make sure your homepage is really your opening salvo, your opening brochure, things that you are trying to sell. So in this case, let's say even specific categories. Okay, you want to point to, you want to call out to. You can convert them into banners, okay, to get users to take those specific actions on products you want to sell. So you see an example of this, for instance, when you go to the supermarket and you're walking down the aisle and you see a huge bin, let's say, of just food products, right, that are on sale. So the grocer is trying to point you out to things that are maybe have a higher margin for them or that are on sale to drive interest in the product, right? Same thing with websites. Anything that you want featured on the homepage where users will first arrive mostly, especially if you're doing things like search engine optimization for the main domain. Okay, the home landing page. The main landing page is where all your featured products and your featured items will go, things you want to sell more of. So when we click on edit page to create these 3 sub banners, all I simply did was created a row. So I had a row that was 3 and I just added a single image widget to each one of those rows. As you can see here. So if we actually click on this plus sign here, we can see we can add a single image to this page builder. So the page builder is WP Bakery. And WP Bakery, I believe, works best with this Woodmart theme. So as you can see, we have 3 images here in a row. And the row is contained in a section. So again, when I click on the plus sign, we can add sections. Actually, the plus sign here, way at the bottom of the page, which is telling the page builder we want to start a new section, right? So we just have a new section. We can create a new section. And within that section, as you can see, when we click on the plus sign within the section, we can create rows. And this is how you get 3 rows, like so, okay? So that's where the sub banners went for this website. Now let's continue on and let's illustrate some of what I did here. The next thing I did was create a product widget highlighting the Racket Strings category. So strings is a main category, as you can see here. So I want to call out to it. So I created a product widget. So what is a product carousel or a product widget? Product grid, right? So this is this section. This section was actually a template that came with the theme. So when you click on this, you are brought to the templates page, that little template icon. And when I clicked on products, I used one of these product carousels to achieve this look here. So when users click on these items, they're taken right directly to the product page, the product landing page. There's a description of the product and any ancillary information contained. Let's move on. The next is simply a 2-column section. So this is This is a section with 2 columns and another section with 2 columns, and I stacked them above each other. So when we come here, as you can see, this is a section that I created with 2 columns, and I simply duplicated this and made 2 columns again, the same thing. So this is how to achieve that look, and all of these banners I made in Photoshop. So again, if you're not good at creating photos or manipulating images in Photoshop, you can always hire a graphic designer to achieve this look. Now I added another product carousel. I simply duplicated this to break up some of the graphic design in the banners to highlight this area right here for grips. And then another banner here that I added, a single image banner for a product, in this case the AeroDrive, that goes to the AeroDrive page. This is a product that is endorsed by the tennis player Rafael Nadal, so I wanted to call that out here. So if you can see what I'm doing, all of these sections have a specific page or a specific category page. In this case, women's tennis apparel goes to the women's tennis apparel page of products that I added. Same with the men's tennis apparel. Goes to a specific category or a specific product. So you want to make sure that you keep your landing page focused. In this case, your home page focused. So one thing you see a lot of people who create websites, online e-commerce websites, is their pages are not focused. Okay, so you have things that are sort of all over the place. So you have to break it up into sections. Make sure, and what a lot of the professional e-commerce stores are doing is they have these banners that have call to actions that go to specific category pages. So the more organized you are, okay, in presenting and creating these banners, okay, the easier it is for your user to have a good user experience with your user interface. So in this case, your website. So the better the user experience, the more seamless the checkout process will be should they decide to purchase something. The harder you make it. So if you're unorganized and banners are sort of all over the place and they're not pointing to specific categories, as you can see, each one of these categories is represented as banners. So we're just simply illustrating the menu in the home page, if you see what I did. So for instance, although this points to a racket, a specific racket that is $2.99, I put that there because this item right here in this hypothetical scenario represents a high margin product. So I want to draw users to a product that has high margins, right? So you could do that with your products, the ones that have the highest margins, the ones that are potential hot sellers, you want to highlight them as banners. So that's what we did here. And then as you can see, the 3 sub banners, okay, these go to specific landing pages. So in this case, ball machines, a product. But if you look here closely, this menu is mostly illustrated as banners. So tennis rackets, tennis shoes, women's tennis apparel, men's tennis apparel, some grips, and then this specific product here with the high margin. As you can see, most of these categories these menu items are represented as banners. Okay. So you want to make sure, however, which order you want to do it, doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that when you're creating website banners or you have website banners that are created for you, that they serve a purpose to organize the page, to take users to specific pages, specific category pages, because this helps with a more seamless user experience and a seamless checkout experience. If things are not organized properly and you sort of just leave things all over the place and you don't have any sort of direction, aesthetic direction with your pages, you're going to have a user who will bounce from that page and just go to another business, okay, that has all of that straightened out. So your user interface, the way you design your user interface, so in this case, we designed it with these banners to interface with to have the users go to specific categories. Okay, if this isn't organized properly, it's going to impact the user experience. And once you impact the user experience, subconsciously, the customer is going to begin thinking about things like, well, if they can't organize a web page, what makes you think that they can fulfill my order? Like small things like that can impact your page bounce rate. So page bounce rate is when the users leave the website for another website. Okay, in this case, a competitor potentially. So make sure you have a page that's organized. Now, like I said, I love Woodmart because of all of the ancillary features that come along with the theme, but also the flexibility to gut the theme and put in your own sort of styling to it. So as you can see, I got rid of the menu that came with the theme and opted for my own menu and my own sort of aesthetic design flow I added here. This is easily accomplishable, okay? So it's nothing that was special that I did. So pay attention to the user experience. This is the footer. I manipulated the footer by using a footer template. So when we click on edit page, that's actually the last thing to show you here. We click on edit page and we scroll to the bottom. As you can see, this is a footer. The footer is the end of a web page and it shows up on every page. So simply I clicked on this little plus, actually this button right here, which is for the templates. This is Woodmart. This is you implying to Woodmart to show templates. And I simply went to footer. We can find it here. There are 14 pre-made footers. I selected this one. You can preview these footers and I changed the colors okay, to my company colors in this demo store, and I added this footer right here. So I added this to the template and it showed up right here. Now, to achieve the theme colors, let's go back and address one important thing. Your logo really dictates the theme color, the style, the style aesthetic in terms of like the colors. So my logo is a type of blue, a type of navy blue. And as you can see, there are elements of this blue everywhere. Okay, so the logo is really sets the direction, the tone of the color scheme of your theme. So that is a good UI, UX principle you should know. The colors of your logo should appear somewhere as the main theme colors. Okay, and this is just going to help you get some sort of color direction, right? Aesthetic direction in terms of color for the theme. So I accented these colors all over. So for the footer, as you can see, the color of the logo and the footer are the same. And you see the elements of the theme colors here in the wish list, in the compare the products widget, and also the shopping cart. And to change the theme colors, I simply went here. Let's click on Woodmart theme settings. And as you can see, I'm brought to the theme settings page. You can also go to the theme settings page in Woodmart by just accessing your dashboard. And I simply chose style and colors. And as you can see, I entered in the primary color, which is the color of the logo. Now, if you don't know what the color of your logo is, I actually created this logo from a template that I got on a Envato Marketplace, Envato Marketplace is a place where you can buy templated logos. So I simply went into Photoshop and I used a color picker to determine what the actual hexadecimal value was for this color. And I took the hexadecimal value and I entered it here. Now this is using RGB, a different color format, but if you put the hexadecimal value of this logo here, it will convert it to RGB automatically. And then the secondary color, remember, is the logo. So as you can see, this tiny little dot right here, this green, this same shade green here, is the secondary color. So we have our website now. And we have an understanding of some basic UI, UX principles that you can use to organize a web page. It's very important to understand this, because if you don't understand this, then you could be potentially unintentionally harming the overall user experience with poor user interface design. So user interface design simply is organizing the page, okay, to make sure that the user experience is the best it could be, because a good user experience will determine a lot of things, like whether or not that user who is browsing the web page becomes a customer. Okay, so it's important to understand these basic UI UX principles. If you understand these basic UI UX principles, you can build any web page. Okay, so there has to be a direction to it. As you can see, this page flows. It certainly isn't the most perfect, right? I'm fashioning this as a superstore, but it isn't 100% perfect, but it flows. The page flows, okay? And I could have continued to add to this, okay? Now, if you just follow these basic principles, like I said, you will see a world of difference in the way users engage with your web page. You'll see that they will stay on the pages longer, and the longer they stay, the more potential there is for a sale.